Well, hello everyone. I am Nomir. So, we just finished Final Fantasy Mystic Quest, and this is the post-game review. Yeah, as you know, my hardware is really limited, really crap. So, going to make this quick, just recording on my camera, on my smartphone. So, I want to start by saying the game didn't quite live up to the hype that I remember from my childhood. Which, considering the game we just played, that's kind of understandable. The game was developed for children, and I was a child the first time I played it. So, yeah. Now let's get into the game itself. The storyline is simple. It is lined out much like any other Final Fantasy game, while not keeping secrets from you. I mean, one of the best parts of a Final Fantasy game is going around trying to find the secrets, trying to understand why everything is happening, trying to uncover where you need to go next. And this game holds your hand. And for a beginner, that is you kind of need your hand held. So I'm not going to fault the game on that. The movement style of the game, we're moving on a very linear path from one location to another. It makes it easier on you, but it also it can make things boring, because then you know there's nothing hidden. There's no reason to sit there looking around. Now this similar mode of travel was used in Final Fantasy Tactics, and it worked there a lot better because Final Fantasy Tactics is a tactical RPG. And you had enough movement wandering around the maps that when you weren't in combat, you just kind of wanted to get from one place to another. Now, with this game, you kind of want the combat. But now let's go ahead and talk about the combat. You get 2 party members, which that was, on one hand, that can make it more challenging because you're used to having 3, 4, 5 people on the field at once that you control, or are at least working in your favor. Now, of course, you've got the occasional party members that, no matter what they do to help you, they are completely a detriment. But for this game, it kind of made the combat feel limited. And then all of the monsters were easy. Grinding really wasn't necessary, but it was also kind of unavoidable. I mean, later in the game, after I got the exit spell, I could have just blasted everything with exit and not have to worry about grinding, because I also wouldn't have gotten experience for them. But that's irrelevant. The lack of random encounters is something we see again in Chrono Cross, where the enemies are on the field and you initiate combat by running into them. I kind of like that because in some areas it makes it makes fighting unavoidable. Other areas, hey, I don't feel like fighting. I can just take this long way around, and and it'll probably be faster than trying to take the short route and fighting you. But the biggest issue with the combat is status effects. At least by the time you got to Aquaria, every type of monster had one or two status affecting maneuvers, whether it was poison, blind, confusion. I spent more time dying because I was either under instant death, petrification, or I couldn't do anything because of some other status effect. Confusion killed my characters, had my characters kill themselves too many times. So it got frustrating. But for how simple the game is, it added the challenge that you weren't getting from combat otherwise. I mean, there were a couple of enemies where, yeah, legitimately they were just kicking my tail, because some of their magic attacks were just overpowered. But then I get to the next area. Same enemies seem to not be that overpowered, and I don't know if it's just if there was just higher RNG in one area than in another regarding their attacks, or what. The game is short. Now, this was 32 episodes, and most of them were at least 20 minutes or more. And I was trying to do 30-minute episodes, but this phone just wouldn't handle that. So, with that, the game probably would be like trying to get everything, trying to kill every enemy on a screen, just trying to do everything. The game's still probably only about 7 hours. I don't know how much game time I have. The random deaths from massive status effects really adds to the game time, which, I mean, that is cheaper than mandating grinding to overcome a particular boss, because just no. If I want, the point of fighting and grinding is to have an easier time killing them. If they've got instant death attacks, or they're just naturally dealing twice as much damage, that's one thing. It's something else when they're just, hey, I'm going to keep you asleep. I'm going to keep you asleep and have you confused, so you wake them up with your sword. No, that's really cheap. So, yeah, I know I've got a lot of gripes with this game, but for what it was intended to be, I still really enjoy the game. Now, I would love to see an official remake that kind of expands and adds to it. Or, if I had the resources, I would make a sequel to the game. We end with Benjamin, the protagonist, and Tristram going off on another adventure. You know what? Let's just make a game with 2 constant party members, those two, and just travel another country and see what we can find. I mean, sequels are not out of the realm of possibilities for Final Fantasy, since Final Fantasy X and X2 and it's become quite common with 11 expansions and sequels in later offline titles. I mean, I think 14 completely has lore where the world was completely destroyed and rebuilt just because the first version was so broken in the worst ways. So, you know, it would probably have to be a fan game because Square Enix isn't bothered with doing anything with Mystic Quest anymore. So yeah, overall the game isn't as appealing to someone that is of a higher maturity than the game was designed for. I mean, the game was designed for like 6 to 12-year-olds. I mean, while being Nintendo's family friendly, I mean, there are a couple of jokes that you have to read a lot into to get anything weird out of, but overall, it's simplified for someone of that age. And replaying it today at my age, nostalgia is what makes it stay appealing. Now, this particular game, I will never do another Let's Play for it because I love the game, and I could sit down and I could play through the game in 1 or 2 sessions for the sake of playing, but for recording and trying to do one episode every day, every other day or so is something entirely different, and it just feels like it drags on too long. So, now, would I recommend this game for other people to play? If you've never played an RPG before and you're not sure you'll easily understand the mechanics, then yes, play it. Just get your feet wet. Now, but don't let that first experience being introduced through this game shape your opinion of the entire game, because it's lacking a lot of things that make most RPGs some of the most beloved games of all time. Which is why it's always gotten a lot of critical negative reviews from gamers that love the genre. People that didn't love the genre just usually weren't that positive about it either, and then they let that shape their entire opinion of the genre, and that just caused more problems. So, yeah, if you've never played it, at least try playing it with an open mind. But if you don't want to play it, don't close off the JRPG genre as a whole. Play other Final Fantasy games. Play Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross, Breath of Fire. There are some really good tactical RPGs if you like to actually move around the map. But this game, all I can say is approach it with an open mind, because there's a lot of negatives, but there are positives, and the positives are very nuanced, and they're things that are hard to really put into words. You kind of just have to experience them, and I think if you go in with an open mind and you just sit down, you let yourself get into the story, you can experience those nuances. I mean, there are subtle things in the game that kind of help to pull you in. Again, like as I said, it's really hard to explain, but I'm not going to give the game, I'm not going to institute a rating system, because rating systems are kind of hard to be subjective about, hard to be objective about, but you know, the game will always be dear to my heart, even if I sound like I was about ready to break it by the end of this gameplay, because the Let's Play. I mean, it is my first time doing a Let's Play. It is my first time doing a video review. There's a lot of firsts right here, and I must admit I am a bit overwhelmed. So there's a lot of emotion. I mean, I have a lot of highs and a lot of lows with this game, between my nostalgia factor and just this current process. So but you know, there's got to be something special in the game if it can inspire an emotional response, whether that response is good or that response is bad. And the fact that I am still willing to play it, despite how frustrated I am right now, should give you an idea of how much the game means to me. And I really think the game can mean a lot to you if you've never played it before. It seems to have a decent following among speedrunners. Now, I'm not a speedrunner, but you know, I've learned a few things watching speedrunners, and I can understand why they get enjoyment out of the game, especially for a game this simple. And I really think, I mean, if you can't get into it for the story and just enjoy the game like that, try speedrunning it. Try seeing if you can just beat your best time. Maybe do it at a lower level. Maybe get a faster time. And just, there are so many different ways to experience any video game. And this is one of those games where you've really got to experience it from different perspectives. But yeah, I was only intending this to be about 10 minutes, but you know, I go off without a script. So we're already 18 minutes in, and I think I'm going to call it a video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. I will respond to anyone that is not trolling. Oh, and reveal. Today is Saturday, July the 23rd. Tomorrow is Sunday. I am not doing a video tomorrow, but next Sunday I will be uploading the first episode of my Let's Play Chrono Trigger. So be on the lookout for that. Chrono Trigger is a much better game, and that is one of my favorite games. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest is the first JRPG I ever played and beat. Chrono Trigger is second, and it is still my favorite game of all time. So I'm done now. Again, like, share, subscribe, let me know what you think. I am out.